Welcome to Toxic from Reddit, where real toxic relationship stories come to life. Here you'll hear true stories from people who experience toxic relationships from different perspectives. Partners dealing with cheating, manipulation, gaslighting, red flags, and all the emotional chaos that comes with loving someone who hurts you. Stories of betrayal, of finding strength to leave, of discovering the truth, of heartbreak, of healing, and the raw reality of toxic love. This is a real story, shared anonymously on Reddit. Some details have been changed to protect the identity of the people involved. Hi everyone, my name is Marcus, I'm 31 years old and I live in Chicago, Illinois. And I need to tell you about the most devastating betrayal that destroyed not only my relationship, but also my closest friendship, which is that 6 months ago, the night before my wedding, my fiancé of 4 years slept with my best friend of 15 years. I found out about it 3 days after the wedding when my fiancé's maid of honor sent me photos and messages that proved what had happened. When I confronted them, they both admitted it but said they were drunk and that it didn't mean anything and that I should forgive them because it was just a mistake. And now I'm dealing with the complete destruction of my marriage before it even really began. The loss of my best friend, the humiliation of everyone knowing what happened, and the trauma of knowing that the two people I trusted most in the world betrayed me in the worst possible way on what was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. I'm going to tell you this entire story from the beginning because the betrayal is so deep and so painful that you need to understand the full context of my relationships with both of these people to truly grasp how devastating this has been for me. My ex-wife's name is Vanessa. She's 29 years old. And my ex-best friend's name is Kyle. He's 32 years old. Kyle and I have been best friends since high school. Like, we met when we were 16 years old in our sophomore year, and we instantly clicked. Kyle and I were on the basketball team together. We had the same sense of humor. We liked the same music and movies, and we just understood each other in a way that's rare to find in friendships. Throughout high school, Kyle and I were inseparable. Like, we spent almost every day together. We went to parties together, we studied together, we played basketball together, and we supported each other through all the typical teenage drama and challenges. After high school, Kyle and I went to different colleges, but we stayed in touch and we would visit each other regularly. And during summer breaks, we would hang out constantly. After college, Kyle and I both ended up moving back to Chicago, and we picked up our friendship right where we had left off. Kyle and I were roommates for about 2 years after college, and during that time, our friendship grew even stronger. We were there for each other through job changes, through breakups, through family issues, and through all the challenges of navigating your 20s. Kyle was like a brother to me. Like, I trusted him completely. I told him everything, and I never doubted his loyalty or his friendship. I met Vanessa about 5 years ago at a friend's birthday party, and I was immediately attracted to her. Vanessa was beautiful and charming and funny, and we hit it off right away. We talked for hours at that party, and by the end of the night, I had asked for her number, and we had made plans to go on a date. Vanessa and I started dating, and our relationship progressed quickly because we had such a strong connection. Vanessa was everything I had been looking for in a partner. Like, she was intelligent and ambitious and kind, and she seemed to genuinely care about me and about building a life together. About a month into dating Vanessa, I introduced her to Kyle, and I was excited for my girlfriend and my best friend to meet because they were the two most important people in my life. Kyle and Vanessa got along well from the start. Like, they had similar personalities and they made each other laugh, and I was happy that they liked each other. Over the next few months, the three of us would hang out together regularly. Like, we would go to dinners, we would watch sports games together, we would go to concerts and events, and it felt like we had this great dynamic where my girlfriend and my best friend were also friends with each other. I never felt any weird vibes or any tension between Kyle and Vanessa, and I never had any reason to suspect that there was anything inappropriate happening between them. About a year into dating Vanessa, she moved into my apartment, and Kyle would still come over regularly to hang out with us. Kyle was always respectful of my relationship with Vanessa. Like, he never flirted with her or crossed any boundaries, and Vanessa never gave me any reason to think that she was interested in Kyle as anything other than my best friend. About 2 years into our relationship, I proposed to Vanessa, and she said yes, and we started planning our wedding. I asked Kyle to be my best man, and he was honored and excited, and he said that he couldn't wait to stand by my side on the most important day of my life. Vanessa and I spent the next 2 years planning our wedding, and it was a long engagement because we wanted to save money and we wanted to plan the perfect wedding. During those 2 years, Kyle was incredibly supportive and helpful. Like, he helped me plan my bachelor party. He helped me pick out my suit. He gave me advice about marriage, and he was always there to listen when I was stressed about wedding planning. Vanessa also became closer with Kyle during this time. Like, the three of us would still hang out regularly, and Vanessa would sometimes text Kyle to ask for advice about surprising me or about gift ideas, and I thought it was great that they had developed their own friendship. Looking back now, I can see that maybe they were getting too close, but at the time I didn't think anything of it because I trusted both of them completely. About 3 months before the wedding, Vanessa and I were both very stressed because there was so much to do and so many details to finalize. We were arguing more than usual, mostly about stupid things like seating arrangements and menu choices and budget concerns, and I think the stress of wedding planning was taking a toll on our relationship. Kyle was aware that Vanessa and I were stressed, and he would often try to mediate or try to help us see each other's perspectives, and I appreciated that he was trying to help us work through our issues. About a month before the wedding, Vanessa told me that she wanted to have a bachelorette party the night before the wedding, and I thought that was a little unusual because most people have their bachelor and bachelorette parties a few weeks before the wedding, not the night before. But Vanessa said that she wanted to have one last night of fun with her girlfriends before we got married, and that she thought it would be a good way to relax and de-stress before the big day. I told Vanessa that I thought it was fine, and I said that I would probably just have a low-key night with Kyle and a few of my groomsmen. Vanessa seemed happy with this plan, and we moved forward with organizing our respective parties for the night before the wedding. The week before the wedding was absolutely chaotic. Like, there were so many last-minute details to handle, so many people arriving in town, so many rehearsals and dinners and events, and I was exhausted and stressed. But I was also excited, because I was about to marry the woman I loved, and I was about to start this new chapter of my life with my best friend by my side as my best man. The night before the wedding, Vanessa went out with her bridesmaids for her bachelorette party, and I stayed at the hotel where the wedding was going to be held, and Kyle and a few of my groomsmen came over to hang out. We ordered pizza, we drank some beers, we played video games, and we just relaxed and talked about life and about marriage and about the future. It was a really nice, chill evening, and I felt grateful to have such good friends supporting me. Around midnight, most of the guys left, but Kyle stayed behind because he said he wanted to talk to me about something. Kyle and I sat on the balcony of my hotel room, and we talked about our friendship and about how much we meant to each other, and Kyle gave me this heartfelt speech about how proud he was of me and how happy he was that I had found Vanessa. Kyle said that he hoped that one day he would find someone who made him as happy as Vanessa made me, and he said that he would always be there for me no matter what. I was really touched by what Kyle said, and I told him that he was like a brother to me and that I couldn't imagine my life without him. Kyle and I hugged, and then he left around 1 a.m, and I went to bed feeling happy and grateful and excited for the next day. The next day was my wedding day, and it was beautiful and perfect. Like, the weather was gorgeous, the venue looked amazing, all of our friends and family were there, and everything went smoothly. Vanessa looked absolutely stunning in her wedding dress, and when I saw her walking down the aisle, I felt like the luckiest man in the world. We exchanged our vows, we said I do, we kissed, and we were officially married. The reception was incredible. Like, everyone was dancing and laughing and celebrating, and I felt so much joy and so much love. Kyle gave a best man speech that was funny and touching, and Vanessa's maid of honor, whose name is Rachel, gave a speech that was also really sweet. I noticed that Rachel seemed a little off during her speech, like she seemed uncomfortable or upset about something, but I didn't think too much of it at the time, because I was so caught up in the celebration. Vanessa and I left the reception around midnight, and we went up to our honeymoon suite, and we were both exhausted but happy. We spent our wedding night together, and then the next day we flew out for our honeymoon in Hawaii. The first 2 days of our honeymoon were amazing. Like, we were relaxing on the beach, we were enjoying romantic dinners, we were exploring the island, and we were just enjoying being newlyweds. But on the 3rd day of our honeymoon, I received a message on Instagram from Rachel, Vanessa's maid of honor. The message said, "Marcus, I'm so sorry to do this, but I can't keep this secret anymore. You need to know what happened the night before your wedding? I have proof. Please call me as soon as you can." My heart dropped, and I immediately felt sick to my stomach, because I knew that whatever Rachel was about to tell me was going to be bad. I didn't want to call Rachel in front of Vanessa, so I told Vanessa that I needed to make a work call, and I went out onto the balcony of our hotel room. I called Rachel, and she answered immediately, and she sounded like she had been crying. Rachel said, "Marcus, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to tell you this, but Vanessa cheated on you the night before your wedding. She slept with Kyle." I felt like I couldn't breathe, like the words Rachel was saying didn't make sense, and I couldn't process what she was telling me. I said, "What are you talking about? That's not possible. Vanessa was with you at her bachelorette party, and Kyle was with me at the hotel." Rachel said, "I know, but after the bachelorette party ended around 11, Vanessa said she wanted to go back to the hotel to see you one more time before the wedding. So I got her an Uber, But instead of going to your room, she went to Kyle's room and they hooked up. I asked Rachel how she knew this, and Rachel said that she had a bad feeling about Vanessa leaving alone. So she had followed Vanessa's Uber to make sure she got back to the hotel safely, and she had seen Vanessa go into Kyle's room instead of mine. Rachel said that she had waited in the lobby for about an hour, and then she had seen Vanessa leave Kyle's room and go to her own room. Rachel said that she had confronted Vanessa about it the next morning before the wedding, and Vanessa had admitted that she had slept with Kyle, but she had begged Rachel not to say anything because she didn't want to ruin the wedding. Rachel said that she had agreed to keep the secret because she didn't want to ruin my wedding day, but that she couldn't live with the guilt anymore, and that she thought I deserved to know the truth. Rachel then sent me screenshots of text messages between her and Vanessa, where Vanessa admitted to sleeping with Kyle and begged Rachel to keep it a secret. I felt like my entire world was collapsing, like the woman I had just married, the woman I had committed my life to, had betrayed me in the worst possible way with my best friend, the person I trusted more than anyone else in the world. I was shaking and crying, and I didn't know what to do. I thanked Rachel for telling me the truth, and I hung up the phone, and I just sat on the balcony trying to process what I had just learned. After about 30 minutes, I went back into the hotel room, and Vanessa was lying on the bed watching TV, and she smiled at me and asked if everything was okay with work. I looked at her and I said, "I just got off the phone with Rachel, and she told me what you did the night before our wedding." Vanessa's face went completely white, and she sat up in bed and she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Don't lie to me. Rachel told me that you slept with Kyle the night before our wedding, and she sent me the text messages where you admitted it." Vanessa started crying immediately, and she said, "Marcus, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was a huge mistake. I don't know what I was thinking." I said, "You slept with my best friend the night before you married me. How could you do that? How could you betray me like that?" Vanessa said, "I was drunk. We were both drunk. It just happened. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I want to be with you." I said, "You were drunk. That's your excuse. You were drunk, so you decided to fuck my best friend the night before our wedding." Vanessa kept crying and apologizing, and she said that she had made a terrible mistake, and that she wanted to work through this, and that she didn't want to lose me. I told Vanessa that I needed space, and I left the hotel room and I went for a walk on the beach. I was in complete shock, like I couldn't believe that this was happening, that my marriage was falling apart 3 days after my wedding, and that the two people I trusted most in the world had betrayed me. I called Kyle and he answered, and I said, "Rachel told me what happened the night before my wedding. Is it true? Did you sleep with Vanessa?" There was a long silence, and then Kyle said, "Marcus, I'm so sorry, man. We were both really drunk. It was a huge mistake. It didn't mean anything." I said, "You slept with my fiancé the night before my wedding. You're my best friend. How could you do that to me?" Kyle said, "I don't know. I wasn't thinking. We had both been drinking, and one thing led to another, and it just happened. I feel terrible about it. I never meant to hurt you." I said, "You never meant to hurt me. You slept with the woman I was about to marry. How did you think that wasn't going to hurt me?" Kyle said, "I know. I fucked up. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. You're my best friend. I don't want to lose you." I said, "You should have thought about that before you betrayed me." And I hung up the phone. I spent the rest of that day walking around by myself, trying to process everything, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I felt so many emotions: anger, betrayal, sadness, humiliation, and confusion. I felt angry at Vanessa for cheating on me, and for doing it with my best friend, and for doing it the night before our wedding. I felt angry at Kyle for betraying our friendship, and for crossing a line that should never be crossed. I felt betrayed because these were the two people I trusted most in the world, and they had both lied to me and deceived me. I felt sad because my marriage was over before it had even really begun, and because I had lost my best friend. I felt humiliated because everyone at our wedding had celebrated our love and our commitment, and the whole time Vanessa and Kyle knew what they had done, and they had acted like nothing was wrong. And I felt confused because I didn't understand how this had happened. Like, how could two people who claim to love me and care about me do something so hurtful and so destructive? That evening, I went back to the hotel room, and Vanessa was there waiting for me, and she had clearly been crying for hours. Vanessa said, "Marcus, please, can we talk about this? I know I made a terrible mistake, but I love you, and I want to make this work. Please don't give up on us." I said, "Vanessa, you cheated on me with my best friend the night before our wedding. There's nothing to talk about. Our marriage is over." Vanessa said, "Please, it was just one mistake, one drunken mistake. It didn't mean anything. I was nervous about the wedding, and I wasn't thinking clearly, and Kyle and I just made a stupid decision." I said, "Stop blaming the alcohol. You made a choice. You chose to go to Kyle's room, you chose to cheat on me, and you chose to lie to me and marry me, knowing what you had done. Vanessa said, I know I fucked up, but people make mistakes, and I'm begging you to forgive me. I'll do anything to make this right. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut off contact with Kyle. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I said, Vanessa, I can't trust you anymore. You destroyed my trust. And without trust, there's no relationship, there's no marriage. Vanessa begged me to reconsider, and she said that she didn't want to get divorced, and that she wanted to fight for our marriage. But I had already made up my mind. Like, I knew that I could never forgive Vanessa for what she had done, and I knew that I could never trust her again. I told Vanessa that I wanted a divorce, and that I was going to cut our honeymoon short and go home. Vanessa cried and pleaded with me, but I was firm in my decision. The next day, I booked a flight home, and I left Hawaii and left Vanessa there by herself. When I got back to Chicago, I immediately contacted a divorce attorney, and I started the process of ending my marriage. My attorney said that because we had only been married for a few days, and because Vanessa had committed adultery, the divorce process should be relatively straightforward. I also had to deal with the humiliation of telling my family and friends what had happened, and why my marriage was ending just days after my wedding. My parents were shocked and heartbroken, and they were furious at Vanessa and Kyle for what they had done. My friends were also shocked, and they were incredibly supportive, and they told me that I was doing the right thing by leaving Vanessa. I also had to deal with Kyle. Like, I told him that our friendship was over, and that I never wanted to see him or speak to him again. Kyle tried to reach out to me multiple times, sending me long text messages and voicemails apologizing and begging for forgiveness, but I ignored all of them. Kyle said that he had made the biggest mistake of his life, and that he would do anything to make it right, but I told him that there was nothing he could do, and that he had destroyed our friendship beyond repair. Over the next few weeks, more details about what had happened that night came out. I found out from Rachel that Vanessa had been texting Kyle throughout the bachelorette party, and that they had made plans to meet up after the party ended. I found out that this wasn't just a random drunken mistake, but that Vanessa and Kyle had been planning to hook up that night. I also found out from another friend that Kyle and Vanessa had been flirting with each other for months leading up to the wedding, and that several people had noticed but hadn't said anything because they didn't want to cause drama. This information made the betrayal even worse, because it meant that this wasn't just a one-time drunken mistake, but that there had been an ongoing emotional affair between Vanessa and Kyle, and that they had both been lying to me for months. I felt like such an idiot for not seeing the signs, for not noticing that my fiancé and my best friend were developing feelings for each other. I started questioning everything about my relationship with Vanessa and my friendship with Kyle. Like, were there other times they had hooked up? Were there other lies they had told me? Had they been laughing at me behind my back? I became obsessed with trying to figure out the full truth, and I reached out to mutual friends to see if anyone knew anything else. Some friends told me that they had suspected something was going on between Vanessa and Kyle, but that they hadn't wanted to say anything without proof. Other friends told me that they had noticed Vanessa and Kyle spending a lot of time together, and that they had seemed very comfortable with each other, but that they had assumed it was just because they were both close to me. I felt betrayed not just by Vanessa and Kyle, but also by the friends who had suspected something and hadn't told me. About 2 months after I filed for divorce, Vanessa reached out to me and asked if we could meet in person to talk. I initially said no, but Vanessa kept insisting, and she said that she needed closure and that she wanted to apologize to me in person. I eventually agreed to meet with Vanessa at a coffee shop, and when I saw her, she looked terrible, like she had lost weight and she had dark circles under her eyes. Vanessa apologized profusely, and she said that she had been going to therapy, and that she had been working on understanding why she had made such a terrible decision. Vanessa said that she had been feeling anxious and scared about getting married, and that she had developed feelings for Kyle over the months leading up to the wedding, and that she had acted on those feelings in a moment of weakness. Vanessa said that she regretted what she had done more than anything, and that she wished she could take it back, but that she understood that I could never forgive her. Vanessa also said that she and Kyle had not been in contact since the wedding, and that she had no intention of pursuing a relationship with him. I asked Vanessa why she had gone through with the wedding if she had feelings for Kyle, and Vanessa said that she had convinced herself that her feelings for Kyle were just cold feet, and that once we were married, those feelings would go away. I told Vanessa that I appreciated her apology, but that it didn't change anything, and that I still wanted to move forward with the divorce. Vanessa said that she understood, and she asked if there was any chance that we could be friends in the future, and I said no, that I needed to move on with my life, and that having her in my life in any capacity would prevent me from healing. About 3 months after I filed for divorce, Kyle reached out to me through a mutual friend and asked if he could meet with me to apologize in person. I initially said no, but the mutual friend said that Kyle was really struggling and that he was genuinely remorseful, and that maybe hearing him out would give me some closure. I eventually agreed to meet with Kyle at a park, and when I saw him, he looked awful, like he had clearly been beating himself up over what had happened. Kyle apologized and said that he had made the biggest mistake of his life, and that he had destroyed the most important friendship he had ever had. Kyle said that he had been attracted to Vanessa for a while, but that he had never acted on it because he knew it was wrong and because he valued our friendship too much. Kyle said that the night before the wedding, Vanessa had texted him and asked if she could come to his room to talk because she was feeling anxious about the wedding, and that he had said yes. Kyle said that when Vanessa came to his room, they had started talking and drinking, and that one thing had led to another, and they had ended up sleeping together. Kyle said that he had immediately regretted it, and that he had told Vanessa that it was a mistake, and that they could never tell me. Kyle said that he had gone through with being my best man at the wedding because he didn't want to ruin my wedding day, and because he had hoped that maybe I would never find out and that he could just live with the guilt. I asked Kyle if he had feelings for Vanessa, and Kyle said that he had been attracted to her, but that he didn't love her, and that he had just made a terrible decision in a moment of weakness. I told Kyle that I appreciated his apology, but that I could never forgive him, and that our friendship was over. Kyle started crying, and he said that losing me as a friend had been the worst consequence of his actions, and that he would regret what he had done for the rest of his life. I told Kyle that he should regret it, and that he had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and that I hoped he would learn from this and never do something like this to anyone else. I left that meeting feeling a little bit of closure, but also feeling sad that I had lost my best friend of 15 years. Over the past few months, I've been focusing on healing and moving forward with my life. I finalized my divorce from Vanessa about a month ago, and it was a relief to officially close that chapter of my life. I've been going to therapy regularly, and my therapist has been helping me process the betrayal and the trauma of what happened. My therapist has helped me understand that what Vanessa and Kyle did was not my fault, and that their actions were a reflection of their character, not a reflection of my worth. My therapist has also helped me work on rebuilding my trust in people, because this experience has made me very guarded and suspicious of everyone. I've been spending a lot of time with my family and with my close friends who have been incredibly supportive throughout this entire ordeal. I've been focusing on my career, and I recently got a promotion at work, which has been a good distraction and has helped me feel like I'm moving forward. I've also been working on my physical and mental health, like I've been going to the gym regularly, I've been eating better, and I've been practicing mindfulness and meditation. I've been thinking a lot about what I want in my next relationship, and I know that I want to be with someone who is honest and loyal and who values commitment and trust. I know that I want to be with someone who would never betray me and who would never put me in a position where I have to question their loyalty. I've been thinking about the red flags that I missed in my relationship with Vanessa, and I've realized that there were signs that she was not fully committed to me, like the way she would sometimes talk about other men, or the way she would seek validation from other people, or the way she would prioritize her own needs over our relationship. I've realized that I ignored these red flags because I was in love with Vanessa, and because I wanted to believe that she was the person I thought she was. I've learned that it's important to pay attention to red flags, and to trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right. I've been thinking about my friendship with Kyle, and about how I missed the signs that he was attracted to Vanessa, and I've realized that there were moments where Kyle would make comments about Vanessa that should have raised red flags, like he would comment on her appearance, or he would talk about how lucky I was to have her in a way that seemed a little too interested. I've realized that I trusted Kyle so completely that I didn't even consider the possibility that he could betray me. And I've learned that even the people you trust the most are capable of hurting you. I've been thinking about forgiveness, and whether I will ever be able to forgive Vanessa and Kyle for what they did. Right now, I don't think I can forgive them, because the betrayal was so deep and so painful, and because they destroyed my trust in a way that feels irreparable. But my therapist has said that forgiveness is not about excusing what they did, but about releasing the anger and resentment so that I can move forward with my life. My therapist has said that forgiveness is something that I can work toward over time, and that it's okay if I'm not ready to forgive them right now. I've been thinking about other people who might have experienced similar betrayals, who might have been cheated on by their partner with their best friend, or who might have discovered infidelity right before or right after their wedding. And I want to tell them that what happened to them is not their fault, and that they deserve so much better than to be betrayed by the people they trust most. I want to tell them that it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to cut toxic people out of your life, even if those people were once very important to you. I want to tell them that healing takes time, and that it's okay to grieve the loss of the relationship and the friendship, and that it's okay to feel all of the emotions that come with betrayal. And I want to tell them that they will get through this, and that they will find happiness again, and that they will find people who will treat them with the love and respect that they deserve. Thank you for reading my story. And if you've been through something similar, if your partner cheated on you with your best friend, if you discovered infidelity right before or after your wedding, if you had to end a marriage because of betrayal, or if you lost a close friendship because of a betrayal, I would love to hear how you dealt with it and where you are now. I'm still healing, still processing the betrayal, still working on rebuilding my trust in people, and still figuring out how to move forward with my life. But I'm confident that I made the right decision by leaving Vanessa and by cutting Kyle out of my life. And I'm hopeful that I will find love again with someone who will treat me with the honesty and loyalty that I deserve.